Whoa, it is looking really good. The moon is absolutely huge from here.
I love shooting time-lapses with long telephoto lenses, and in particular of moon sets or moon rises over the London skyline. To this date I have shot a few epic ones, but I never thought that one day I will shoot one and I will look at it and say, I don't think I'll shoot a moonrise this perfect ever again. And in this video you'll see not one but actually two epic moonrise time-lapses that I shot over 2 consecutive days, as the weather gods somehow have blessed London with perfect conditions. So let's start with the first one at the edge of London in Uxbridge at the Hillingdon Sports and Leisure Complex grounds.
Good evening guys! Yet another time to shoot an epic moonrise, this time over the skyline of London. We're on the West London side, very near Uxbridge.
The distance from here to the city cluster as the crow flies in a straight line is 17 miles, and to Canary Wharf it's 20, but as both are sort of right next to each other in that line of sight, it looks like they're next to each other. While in comparison, in my previous video, the distance was only 2.3 miles, and that's why the buildings were so big and the moon was actually so small. Just look how cute and small it is from here.
Here we are with Charles.
Hello.
And that's the plan today, to shoot a moonrise instead of moonset, which was a video that did very well. And if you want to check out that link, well, here's the pop-up. Today, perfect conditions yet again. 2 days later, after I shot the moonset in the Moonhenge of Scalpel and Cheese Grater. And today we're going to be the massive moon, because we are way further away from our subject, which is the city skyline right next to Canary Wharf. The moon will just encompass pretty much the whole of skyline from here, I think. Definitely will be bigger in size than even the 22 Bishopsgate. The moon's gonna be 96% waning gibbous or something like that. Yeah, I think. Yesterday was 100%, but it was like fully cloudy. You couldn't shoot the moon. So it should be pretty cool. Let's start setting up. Right, pretty much set up. We've also been joined by Luke. Luke is actually an inspiration behind this specific location. Look, there's some amazing moons rising, setting, sunrises, setting as well from very, very far away. So you definitely should check his Instagram out. Okay, first up, let me run you through this setup. Z6 FTZ adapter, 2x teleconverter Mark III Nikon 1, 500 PF. We're going with no filters today. I believe that at 8:30 it will be dark enough that at 0.6 second of a shutter, I'll be only raising ISO to actually compensate and have my 1 second interval correct exposure for the moon. I'll be shooting at f11 because that's what the 5.6 and 2x teleconverter gives me as the widest option. It's still going to be decently sharp, I believe. I've tested it before. I had some good results at wide open with the 2x teleconverter. But f11, again, I will believe that I will have to compensate with ISO to only be shooting at 0.6 second of a shutter. So yeah, these are the two stabilizing arms that are connected to the body and to the legs of the tripod, and I'm shooting on a heavy tripod MVB 525 or something. I bought it like 10 years ago used. It keeps serving me well. Yeah, it's a great video tripod. The heavier the tripod, probably the more well stabilized the shot will be, and you will have to do the least amount of post stabilization. Well, and here's my second little body, the Sony a6300 with the 180 Nikon AIS. I'll be shooting it at f8, might go to f5.6 if it needs to be. I'll probably shoot about a 2 second interval maybe on this, or 3. And yeah, it's all on a PhotoPro carbon fiber and a Benro 3-way geared head, and it's quite low, so without any extra stabilization it should do a decent job. It's a crop body, so 180 will be around 270 millimeters, so it'll get me a slightly wider setup compared to the 1000. Can you tell us a little bit about your setup, Charles?
All right, so main camera is a Sony a7 III using a UHS 2 card inside because I'm shooting every second, so I want to write quickly as possible. Stabilizing arms, same ones as Michael's got. These things are a godsend. Big tall tripod. The lens is a rather old Sigma 500mm f4.5, and then I've got a 2x teleconverter on it. It's not really high quality, but it does the job. And then the second camera, which I haven't decided to shoot with yet, this is a Sony a7R II. Doesn't shoot as quickly because it doesn't write as quickly, and that's a first generation Nikon 70-200 f2.8 lens.
Things are looking good. The lights started twinkling. We are pretty much set up because we arrived early enough to accommodate the extra time for all the setting up so that we don't have to rush it like we did 2 days ago, but it still worked out. So anyway, 35 minutes to go before we definitely have to start the time lapses, and it's looking exciting. A little bit hazy on the horizon, but still got high hopes for it.
Well, speaking of haze, here's a perfect example to show you how wrong can it go. See that moon just coming into vision? Yeah, it didn't show up at the horizon at all, and it wasn't visible, and there didn't seem to be any clouds. And then it only shows up way above, 2 times the size of the skyline. So that is something that can happen even though the conditions do look perfect.
And this is why you come early, because we have, between me and Charles, have just decided that we are skipping the 2x teleconverters. So I'm currently shooting a building still glowing against the sunrise, and I'm already at 2.5 seconds ISO 640. And if I want to go down below a second to have a 1 second interval, I'll be in 30 minutes at some crazy ISO 3200 or 4000. I don't really want that. So I'd rather go down to 5.6 on just this lens and have a much lower ISO. So yeah, time to dismount that. Started one camera rolling already, the Sony a6300, and it's probably 7 minutes to when the moon starts rising, so it's game time. The other camera is now set up only with the 500, 5.6, and at the moment it's ISO 800, which seems to be 2 stops underexposed for the overall composition, but I don't want to blow out that moon and clip it. So yeah, I think ISO 800, 0.6 of a second should be great for a 1 second interval.
Very happy.
And there's a glow in the sky on top of that. Whoa! It is looking really good, and I mean really good. The moon is absolutely huge from here. It's rising just right off the 22 Bishopsgate.
Always.
It's completely encompassing the henge that we shot 2 days ago. So, honestly, that is one hell of a sight to behold. Thank you for the location tip. Thanks, Luke. It's still rising. It's barely halfway, I think. And it's as tall as 22 Bishopsgate. And that glow above it. How cool is that? Wow, that looks pretty damn cool. Even with your own eyes, it is just wow.
And that's the Moon Dome time-lapse. But that's not everything, because the next day I actually went to shoot a time-lapse from Primrose Hill, because the alignment over Canary Wharf was really good. But I ended up completely not vlogging it, because at that day in Primrose Hill turned out to be an absolute illegal rave. Thousands of youth turned out, loud music, rubbish everywhere, to the point that I was actually even thinking that I might not go and not shoot it. But then we put on masks, we decided to, as a group, stay safe, because I was there with a couple of friends, and this is the time-lapse that I did shoot there. Really hope you like both of the time-lapses, but it was all about that first time-lapse. I'm really proud and happy how it turned out. It was incredible to see it with your own eyes, but to capture it at 500 was just absolutely mind-blowing. But at the same time, it makes me a little bit sad, because it's one of these time-lapses that I firmly believe that I might not shoot ever again, a time-lapse this epic, because just I might not. So seeing this and knowing that I did capture it is probably something that I will cherish for the rest of my life. But that's not to say that I cannot capture an equally good or maybe even a better time-lapse, because for the next 7 days I am testing Nikon's 800mm 5.6 monstrous beast. The 600 is a beast, the NOK is a beast. But this is an absolute monster. This is Godzilla territory lens. And of course, it will be now out of the frame. I'll be putting my 2x teleconverter on it. Even though the lens comes with its own 1.25 teleconverter, I've got a 2x teleconverter. I've done some testing with it yesterday, and the 2x teleconverter delivers just as sharp images. So I've shot my first time-lapse with it yesterday, but throughout this whole next week, I will be shooting with it, and there's a couple of moons coming this week with hopefully good weather. So if you would want to watch that video, please subscribe to the channel and wait with your notifications for the next video on this channel, which will be shot with the 800mm monster. So until the next time, guys, stay safe, go on and shoot some moons if you can, from some cool locations, and I'll see you in the next video.